Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to another episode of In the Kitchen with Becca. Although, I guess this week should technically be called In the Farmer's Market with Becca. I love going to and exploring new farmers markets. It's a great way to get familiar with a new area, which we've had to do a lot since we've been moving a lot. But also it's a great way to get a lot of wonderful quality, very inexpensive produce. So, farmers markets typically wrap up in October. So I wanted to show you what I'm buying in bulk now at farmers markets and how I'm preserving it and transforming it into things that I use all year. So right now there's a ton of root vegetables, so like onions and garlic. And something I love to do with those is do Bourbon Onion Jam. And I love to do big batches of confit garlic. Herbs are kind of wrapping up. And so I am getting as much basil as I can still find and doing huge batches of basil pesto. All of those things store really, really well. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys those 3 tried and true recipes that I'm making a lot of right now to stock up for the fall, winter, and spring. So here are those recipes and enjoy. First up is the Bourbon Onion Jam. For a normal batch, you're gonna take 2 onions, half them, and then peel them. And then once those are prepped, you're going to do 1 cut down the middle and then slice. Once you have a glorious mountain of onions, you're going to take a large skillet, take some avocado oil, and drizzle the whole bottom with some oil. Now on medium-low heat, you are going to add your onions and a generous pinch of salt. Toss everything to coat evenly, cover, and let cook. After about 10 to 15 minutes, you'll see the onions are just about halfway cooked. Add about a tablespoon of butter. This is going to help coat the pan and start the beautiful caramel color. After about another 10 minutes, you'll see the onions are caramelizing beautifully. And now it's time for the good bourbon. I'm using a local distillery, Old Glory, and I'm going just to deglaze the pan with some bourbon. It's probably about 1/4 cup. Then you're gonna grab some maple syrup, Kirkland's Best, obviously, and add about 2 tablespoons and stir that in. Cook covered for about another 5 minutes, and then you have it. Bourbon Maple Onion Jam. Absolutely delicious and should be on your menu. This keeps in your fridge for about a week, or you can freeze it and it keeps for about 3 to 6 months. Continuing with the deliciousness, we're doing confit garlic. First, you're going to break down your garlic cloves. This is my little trick to core it. And then I'm going to use a knife. Please use a smaller knife. This was stupid. Please use a small paring knife to then get the extra skin off of the garlic. Once all of your garlic is peeled, put it into a pan. I'm using a silicone loaf pan and absolutely cover with good olive oil. Again, the oil is what I used most, so don't be afraid to put extra oil in there. Once it's covered, I like to add some rosemary. Make sure it's submerged as well. Then I put my loaf pan onto a little tray and then I roast at 200 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours. And then you get caramel garlic cloves that just smush into a delicious roasted garlic paste. And then you get delicious garlic, rosemary, olive oil to use on bread, on steaks, on literally everything. All of this stuff, every step is gold. Next, we are going to make some pesto with this absolutely gorgeous basil. First, you're going to rinse the basil. Make sure to rinse it very well and then dry. While that's drying, you're going to take some Parm Reggiano, again, Kirkland's finest, and cut off about an 8-inch chunk obviously cut yourself a little snack piece. So good. And then you're going to finely grate. Then you're going to take some roasted salted pine nuts. I did these a couple of weeks ago. And you're going to add about a half of a cup to the bottom of the food processor. Then take your confit garlic and confit garlic oil. Add about 5 to 7 garlic cloves to here, and then a good drizzle of the garlic oil. You're going to do your first blitz and then scrape down your bowl. Now you're going to layer half of your basil, half of your Parmesan, a drizzle of the garlic oil, salt, and pepper. And blitz again. Pause after a few seconds, scrape down the sides, and then keep your food processor running while you add just regular olive oil, about 1/4 of a cup, or until your pesto looks like this, where it's mostly smooth, but the oil has emulsified just a little bit, and it tastes incredible. We already had pesto in the fridge, so this whole batch is going in the freezer. Make sure to label and date everything that goes into your freezer. Another helpful thing is I like to put my freezer bag in a jar, so that way it helps me while I pour the pesto in. From there, you just want to press out any air bubbles or anything like that. Secure tightly, lay flat, and freeze. It'll be good for about 3 to 6 months. So before I ended this video, I wanted to show you some end results. So this is the confit garlic that I made over the weekend. I have been using the oil a lot more. So I'm storing the oil separately and then keeping the garlic cloves in a smaller container. So this is what they look like. They are clouded because I keep them in the fridge to keep them longer. But as soon as you want to use them, just put them on the counter, and like the oil turns back to regular oil and they get all squishy again in about 20 minutes. Basil pesto freezes really, really well. Now, as it defreezes, it might lose some of its green, like bright green color, might oxidize just a little bit, but the flavor is gonna be right there. And this also, since it's a lot of oil in there, this comes up to room temp really quickly as well. And then I did want to do an honorable mention. I didn't do a recipe of this, but something I do all of the time, but around me, the season's kind of over, is pickled peppers. So I have jars. These are jalapenos and hot peppers that I just have in the fridge. They're not canned, anything, but I just keep them in the fridge. And then these are my pickled banana peppers that are absolutely amazing on hot dogs, brats, sandwiches, pretty much everything. And how I make them is super easy. I just slice them up and then I do 1 to 2 parts of salt and sugar. So let's say like 1 tablespoon of salt to 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I just do that to coat everything. And then I cover it in distilled white vinegar, like all the way to the top, make sure they're completely covered. And then I throw a lid on it and I put it in the back of the fridge and I shake it up every now and then. They're just delicious. They go on everything. And if you can still find some peppers at your farmer's market, highly, highly recommend. But that is what I'm doing right now. And so I hope you guys can make it out to a farmer's market this weekend and let me know if you try any of these recipes. Bye. Guess you want to say bye? You want to say bye? Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. You want to say bye? Oh, I said go. Oh, you're wet. Oh.